we may expect that business education across the world, and in Russia in particular, would have to pass through the dramatic changes. And so we asked our panelists, who has an outstanding knowledge, to share their point of view of where the world is moving and where in some time maybe Russian business education would find itself. It's my pleasure to mention that here we have among our panelists Sir Paul, the founder of Judge Business School, Cambridge University, and chair of Amber International. John Fernandez, executive director of SASB International. Professor Santiago Inguez, dean of IE Business School and rector of IE University. Sergei Litovchenko, chair of the board of Russian Management Association, and Boris Sherbakov, the head of Oracle in Russia.
This is the Lisbon MBA program. It's two very good business schools in Lisbon, in Portugal. And they decided creativity was the thing they were going to have. They were going to have the most creative MBAs. And they wanted to challenge the students to get out of their comfort zone. So every Friday, they don't have normal lessons. They have Friday forums. And they do singing and acting, learning how to manage upwards. How do you talk to the boss? How do you give negative feedback to your peers? How do you develop advertising campaigns? All those sorts of things. And they allow the exploration of talents and passions in creative and unconventional ways. And actually, you need that in management. You need to be creative. Because new solutions to business often come by putting the left hand and the right hand side of the brain together. If you just keep doing the same old thing, in the end, somebody will overtake you.
We all want to talk global and how we should be global. You won't have any difficulty hearing that day in and day out. Everyone will tell you that. But don't forget your local economy. Don't forget what works in Russia for Russia's economy. Still a pretty new economy as it relates to market-based business operations. So I think that as you place individuals in companies, it's important they know those industries. Again, I'll say don't become trade schools, but make sure they understand the industries. Work very closely with business and build your credibility with business. And finally, just to contradict myself one more time, it's important in business schools that we don't forget our academic roots. That we don't forget that it's important to conduct research, to continue to build the capacity of the faculty, individual, and research is an important component. And partnership with business in that aspect can make it more relevant. But academic theory is critical in faculty and in students as we think more and more about their effectiveness as individuals, graduates.
We are in a time when we need to refresh our institutions. And I would actually recommend a number of things in order to rejuvenate business schools. The first one is to extend the family of MBA programs. The second one, and I was, very happy to learn from Sir Paul's presentation that in Russia the number of applications from women is one of the highest in the world. So actually in Western world we need to bring more women to class because the percentages of women in MBA programs is very low as compared to other degrees where difficulties are comparable to degrees in management. And of course further internationalize the MBA class.
And that's not what worries me. What worries me is that if you ask, I have many professors who were doing consulting with companies. And then pretty soon I start to see them that they were not doing any more consulting. And I start to ask them, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing right now research. But what type of research? Oh, important research to comply with the accreditation agencies. Research which is valuable. They say, but look, there are a lot of companies around here, they need you. Oh no, but that doesn't give me points or whatever you want to call it. That doesn't give me my accreditations that I need. And I have to have the credentials. And I have to be responsible also to the accreditation agencies. I am not against accreditation agencies. For me, accreditation agencies, they have to give you the basic standards of professors, training, programs, but they should not be the driving force of your business school. And be careful, because when they say that 60% of the professors have to be full-time and doing basic research or research that serves only to the peers and evaluated by the peers, I think then we have a problem.
The conclusion from all that management education market is extremely fragmented. There is no single product, and no wonder that bringing all these numerous market players together on a feedback session is extremely difficult. Slide number 6. It's typical all over the world that educators and businesses complain about each other. Businesses say that schools tend to focus on theoretical knowledge and that the graduates need to be retrained or trained additionally once they are back on the job. Educators agree that they do not fully meet the market's requirements, but they complain that companies and individual customers fail to develop a consolidated view on what exactly is needed in the market today and what will be needed tomorrow.
Like, people need to have IQ, we all know that. But to the same extent, people need to have so-called EQ, which is emotional part, emotional capital. That helps find the right behavior, as I can translate it to myself, in ambiguous life situations. And we know that I've been working in IT market for more than 20 years now, and I must admit that the biggest deficit I find in people so far is that of EQ, not IQ. Not the knowledge of rules of the game, not the knowledge of industry or education as such, but EQ. And that brings me to the hypothesis or supposition that this element of people talent development is not being addressed neither by higher education, which I know, nor by business education, which I also experience by having these results. My friend, psychologist Marina Melia, wrote an excellent book which is called Business is Psychology. Business is psychology. And this is correct. This is all about psychology, along with other elements, of course, along with strategic planning, operational, market positioning, innovation, leadership, you name it. But it's all about psychology, because it's run by people, it's done for people, and it's between and among people that it's growing or failing or succeeding. It's all about it.
Thank you. Welcome. Say not goodbye, just welcome. And I hope we are very much interested and very much open for international cooperation. It's one of our basic priorities in this large academy. I understand there are quite a mixture of uncomparable of business education and civil service retraining, but this is our experiment, and I hope that it will have a successful run. I hope this is not our last Gaidar forum.